Hey, what's up, everybody? Today is Friday, and we indeed got that big bounce we were talking about yesterday. Look at that. Friday, we are up 20% on XRP. I feel like I just said, I bet you dimes to donuts we're going to be having a big green day today. Because look, it happens every single time. Anytime the market is completely capitulated, I'm talking negative 15, negative 20, negative 25%. You can pretty much guarantee that the next day, it might, not the next day, but it could take a day or two, but you could count on within 2 days it climbing or skyrocketing way back in a bounce, right? Because look, especially when you're the most oversold in history, right? Um, so let's go to the 2 week chart. It's probably not going to have that super oversold. Oh, well, kind of it does. Let's see, 2 week chart. Because we did get a pretty big bounce, so I want to see what the RSI. Look at the RSI. It's still pretty much. I mean, this is the entire chart of XRP right here. The entire chart, right? And you've had maybe one, and then you had two really extreme ones, and now you have one again. So we're talking 8 years, 9 year chart happening 4 times. So that's once every 2 years. So we get one every 2 years, one, we're due for one, right? So I don't know. It could be, it could maybe go a little bit lower, right? Maybe a little bit lower. But I would say, this is a good spot for us to assume that, hey, this is pretty much good enough, especially since when you have 5 waves, right? You got 5 freaking waves. Let me show you right here. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have 3, and we have 5, and we have the most oversold RSI in history, and we just backtested what we were talking about backtesting for a long time, right? I said $1.30, but we sliced through that like it was nothing. But look where we're at now. We're not even at $1.30. We're 15 cents above $1.30. And it's funny because, let's see what's going on here. Why is this? Oh, what's going on? There we go. If we look, where did we actually go down to? We went down to about $1.11, $1.12, $1.13, $1.15 area. So that was the absolute low for that move. And now we're sitting, think about that. We hit $1.11. Now we're at $1.44. That's pretty big. That's a pretty big move, right? So, yeah. Most oversold RSI, 5 waves down, 3-wave formation, off of an impulse, off of a backtest, coming off of an 8-year base, right? We're creating this base, hitting the low, hitting the high, hitting the reaccumulation, breakout, 3-wave backtest, confirm, ignite, blast off. Obviously, that's not going to happen today or tomorrow. That could take several weeks, if not months, because we still have to go potentially sideways. Now, there's 2 ways this could happen. If this builds us a little bit of a base, that's going to give us a bigger chance at breaking out. If we get sort of a V-bottom recovery, that's just basically going to get us back up to this level, and then we're probably going to end up coming back at least 50% or more, with then potentially another attempt at it later on, but then that would just give us 3 down, 3 up, and then we would most likely have to come back down in 5 before going up, and that would give us our monster flag that we've been talking about. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we could build some support in here. It would be nice to build sort of a Wyckoff. Now you could say, well, what about over here? We didn't build a base over here. We had a 3-way pullback that took exactly 1 year. This is a 3-way pullback that took basically 1 year, right? And if you notice, This one just shot up and then we flagged out. Well, that equals a base. Why? Because if you look, let's just take this right here. There's your base right there. And we have the deviation right there, right? So if that's kind of similar, well, maybe we kind of pump back up here and then we flag out. And then this could technically be your base. I would not prefer that. I would prefer it to be down here. I would prefer a little bit down there, right, to give us a little bit more of an edge on this. So, yeah, I mean, let's see here. If we pull up a retrace, and I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect. We hit the one-to-one extension, basically, right? So you come down here all the way this move, and then you come back to that top move, which gives us a one-to-one. So this from here, boom, boom, to there, to boom, boom, to there. That's a one-to-one extension. Look how perfectly symmetrical that is. That's what I'm talking about, just like that. So hopefully people watched yesterday's video. Hopefully people bought the dip, because look, it's not financial advice, can't tell you what to do, but you damn well better know that I'm buying the dip, especially when you get situations like that. Just for a minute here, we'll go back to XRP because we got to look at the small time frames. But real quick, if we look at Bitcoin dominance hasn't done anything. We had one of the largest liquidations, one of the largest crashes in crypto history by far, and dominance didn't do nothing. It basically just hit the low and now it's retracing. It's very interesting. But what's even more interesting is, where is Bitcoin? Right there. Well, let's just start with the 4-day chart since we're here. Look at the 4-day, right? This RSI has came back up since then. And I'm glad it closed, because if it didn't, it would have came back up and we wouldn't have seen that. So let's just put it right there. I mean, this is a long time, man. This is a long, long time. So you go back all the way over here. There's your low. There's your low. There's your low. Look at that. There's your low right there. And now here we are, guys. Once again, everyone goes, oh, we're barely going into a bear market. How can we barely be going into bear market when we've literally been in a bear market for altcoins for a long time? But the RSI is telling us we're basically at the end. We're at the end of this, not the beginning. So here's a interesting, if you look over here, notice how the low didn't come in until we had actual bullish divergence, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what do we always say? We want divergence between the third and the fifth. Well, gee whiz, we totally got that. Third, fifth, going up, going down. That's bullish divergence. So if we translate that to today, what could that look like? Well, if in fact we have another low, which we totally could, but here's the problem. We have 5 waves, but we don't have bullish divergence, right? So what could happen is this could kind of V-shape like this and then drizzle, 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 drizzle down and take the low. Maybe it doesn't have to pump that high, right? Maybe just a little bit, and then it slams the low. It comes up, and then it makes a higher low. That gives us the bullish divergence we would want. But a lot of people do look for bullish divergence. I, as an investor, also, but I mostly look for oversold conditions, because I know bullish divergence isn't always on the table, but being oversold usually is. So even if we go to the weekly chart, you can see the weekly chart, one of the most oversold conditions in the history of Bitcoin, right? And if we go to the 2-week chart, it was yesterday. I don't know if it is today. It came back up a little bit. It came back up a little bit. Yesterday it was down here. It was down here. The RSI was down here yesterday. And yesterday we had the lowest 2-week RSI in the history of Bitcoin. But since the 2-week candle did not close down there, it makes a lot of sense why we're getting a bounce today, right? So what now? Well, what's the story? How is this a bear market? You look at this, you go, that's not a bear market. That looks like the beginning of a bear market. This looks like a freaking bear market to me. This looks like a little pullback. Okay, well, let me just show you this. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it on regular scale, and now we're going to look at it. Now what does it look like, ladies and gentlemen? Now it looks completely different. So if we take a line, we go all the way to the low, and then we take this line and we come all the way up here, and you could see something very interesting. We've gone past that. We're literally right, just basically there. But you could see we actually went past that. So that tells me that the degree of this wave and the degree of this wave is the same. And the reason why it doesn't look that way is because on log scale, it's different, right? Which is why I like looking at both. Some people are very stubborn. They like only log scale, or only linear scale. And I just don't get why. Like, dude, bro, use both. It's better. Totally. So it depends what you're doing. So yeah, look at this. We are completely and utterly, look at the back test on the 2-week chart. It's literally perfect. If you look at the closes from our previous top, and you put that line right on top of the close, and then we could take another line and put it right on top of that close, and then just go over. I mean, look, it's literally perfect. And then you also have all of this support and this little bull flag, not counting falling 50%, right? We fell 50%, and we have 5 waves. And we're at support. And it's the longest wave we've ever had to the downside. And it's the most oversold in history. I mean, when you lay it like that, when you say it like that, it sounds very compelling that we're almost finished. But don't forget, just because that happened doesn't mean it's not going to take time in here, because that's a 2-week candle. What if we get another 2-week candle and another 2-week candle and another 2-week candle, and then we start 2-week candling breaking out? That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's a lot of candles. That's a lot of weeks. That's months away. But hey, at least we have a potential for this low being in. Now, I said yesterday that there's a good chance that we might have to sweep the low, like back over here. You can see how we came down, right? We stabilized, we went sideways, but then we went boop. We hit the low just a little bit, but then we popped up. We had an ABC, and that ABC, look how tiny that little thing is. You know what? That thing took 6 months for that little teeny tiny ABC to play out. So we can't think, we have to imagine how long we have down here or in this area. Probably a while. Because look how long, look, you have a big move down, you have a big move up, but look at all of the time in between. And if we take that time in between from, let's just say from here all the way here, that's over a year. That's from June. That's 400. That's almost 500 days. That sucks. That really sucks. But hey, I'm not saying it's going to take 500 days, but it totally could, because this is sort of, look, you have your bear market, you have your crash, you have your retrace, right? And then you have the entirety of the bear market, right? This is when the bear market, this is the meat and potatoes of the bear market, right? And then you have basically all of this going sideways, and what we call accumulation, right? So we're looking for accumulation down in here. So Are we going to get a V bottom? Are we going to get sideways accumulation? That's the big question, right? That's what we don't know. That's why it was so important to buy yesterday, because when you're down 20% or so, you know, we could totally have a V bottom, right? Kind of like C19 right in here. Notice how this kind of smashed down to the low, and we didn't build a base. We just came all the way up, and then we built our base up here. This was the base, right? This entire thing was the base, but this was the deviation, right? So if we look back over here, right, this was the base, this was the deviation. So is it possible that what we just saw today was a deviation, right? And if we pump back up here, then that's our base. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't think so. I think we need to just build some candles down in here, right? And look, today's Friday. We had a big pumpy day, but I wouldn't buy now. I would not buy now. Obviously, we could keep going up maybe till Saturday, but Sunday is literally right around the corner. And usually when you had a massacre on Sundays or in the middle of the week, you're going to have some kind of a potentially a bloody Sunday, right? Especially if you get retraces. And when I mean retrace, I mean back to the low. Now, it doesn't look like it's finished. When we zoom in here, look at the hourly chart. Look at that. We went all the way to 60K, and we went all the way back to 70K. And this thing could keep coming back up to here. And then that could be your base. And this could be your deviation. And that could be like a shoulder, a head, and then a shoulder. Which we don't know, but we'll see. The 5-minute chart, I mean, look at that. You had a very strong impulse, and then you had an expanded flat right there, and now you're continuing to go up. So you have an A, a B, and a C. And this could be, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we still need to get 5. So we could probably have some more upside to go, but if that's a 5, a 3, and a 5, and that's a 3-way move, then I would expect possibly 3 down. So if you have 3 up, you should get 3 down. If you don't, if this turns into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, then we have to talk about something different. We have to talk about potentially an ABC in here, and then a continuation, or a bigger ABC, if that. So Bitcoin looks pretty damn good right now. We had a major reaction off the low. Again, we talked about it yesterday, how insanely oversold it was, and that's all it needs. You don't even need to be a technical analysis guy. All you have to see is just look at the RSI. Just look at it. I mean, anytime you get down here and then you just go left and you go, well, when's the last time we were down here? Well, shoot, this was all the way back in March of last year. And then here we are almost in March of this year. So this is 1 year. So that means we're due, right? Well, you know, we're kind of due. And you could see what? Well, it's not hidden bull, but it's almost perfect, actually. So, and then this is just the 12-hour, but just go to the 2-day and look at the 2-day. When was the last time we saw this oversold? I mean, I'm going back way back in the day, and I don't see anything until kind of like right in here and right in here. So this is year after year after year after year after year, and then we finally got something similar, and you're telling me that we're going lower? Well, no one has told me we're going lower, but I could imagine a lot of people are screaming we should go lower, and we might. We totally might, but not now. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't happen like that. The only way we could go lower now is if we get a 3-way move and then a hit to the low, or some kind of a pullback, right? Because I don't see this is not going to just keep coming down. There's just way too much support. Remember, this is multi-year support. A lot of trading happened in this level, and we broke above the level, and now we came all the way down to retest that level. You think we're just going to fall through it after building 6 months here and several months here and a few months here? I don't think so. Right? So this is the work. This is where XRP is right now. Right? And this is why XRP has taken so long, because this is where XRP is right in here. So it still has to break out, and then it still has to come down and retest. Well, it doesn't have to retest, but it does have to break out. And the point of all of this trading history right in here and right in here is so that when we do break out and we do come back down, we will hold it. For example, let's say this never happened, we just came up, straight down, straight up, straight down, and then we came up, straight down, and then we broke out. And then we came down, we wouldn't have nearly as much support. But since we hit it, we hit it, we hit it, we hit it, nope, we hit it, we hit it, nope, we hit it, we hit it, we hit it, we hit it, nope, and then we break it. Well, now we have this point, 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 right? We have a lot. So we're looking good. Now, if we zoom in though, do we have 5 waves on the smaller time frames? Well, we have 1, 2. Is this 3, 4, 5? I don't know. I don't really like that because it does, the third wave is too small. So that's why I'm a little bit, I don't know. I kind of like it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it does look like 5, doesn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. And then you have kind of like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's not a beauty to count. I would say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a 5, 3, 5. So we could still get another 3 and another 5 down. But even if we did that, I think it would be short-lived because, you know. So let's see here. Let's look at a few other charts and see what their wave structures look like. Yeah, like Bitcoin Cash, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 looks done. And then look at the bullish divergence, even up on the 6-hour chart right there. Boom, look at that. See? So that's between the 3rd and the 5th. So Monero. So I guess what happened with Monero is something with regulation, and like there was like a bunch of exchanges had to delist Monero because of compliance or something, because it's a privacy coin, because the deep state doesn't want us having any privacy, because they want to know what we're doing so that they can spy on us and then do it better. You know, that's just how the deep state is. But yeah, it's a pretty major move down, very massive move to the downside. But essentially, I mean, you still got this flat piece here, right? And we could see right here, right? Boom, hit the top, hit the low. Boom, hit the top, hit the low, right? It's got that flat look to it. So I'm hoping that's what it is. Let's see if we go to the weekly chart. See, the weekly Monero is not really oversold because it's coming from a high. It wasn't already in a major downturn like ADA, for example. But look at even ADA, totally oversold, right? Obviously, it could go a little bit lower, but just look at the weekly. The weekly is the most oversold it's ever been in the history of ADA. So if that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what does. I mean, you got to know a big move's coming. So this is the birth I wish I had a lot of cash right now on the side. I got a little bit of cash, but not as much as I would like to have. So I wanna accumulate, definitely, but I wanna do so in a way where it makes sense, and I'm conserving it with the motion of time. Because look, we got a lot of time. It's not like, oh, I have to buy it now because it's gonna go up here tomorrow. Like, it could stay down here for a while. So that's why you don't need to go all in so quickly. Now, if it starts pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping, you don't have to go chase it. Always wait for a pullback. So that's the psychology of how it has to play, right? So yeah, because look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 waves down, and we're totally oversold. So all right, let's go back to XRP and let's look at the small time frames, and then we'll look at a few other ones. But look at that, $1.45. We even pumped up even more, didn't we? Let's see. Yeah, we got all the way up to $1.54. Dude, we were at $1.12. Look at that. So we were at $1.11, and we went all the way up to $1.53. We went up 37% in a day. Not even a day, less than a day. We went 37% in less than a day. And you can say, well, who cares? Because we just crashed like 100%, or at least it feels like it, right? Well, how much did we crash? We crashed a lot. Now, you could say, well, where are you speaking from? I'm just going to do it from the top. Let's just do it from the top. Now, I could do it from the tippy top, or I could do it from this top. I would prefer doing it from this top because it's more in line with what really happened. Because you could see when we took the top, we instantly came back. So it wasn't a legit top. We're down 67% on XRP. So that's quite a lot. We're down 67%. Now we're not down 67% anymore. Now we're down approximately 57%. So, okay. But yeah, I mean, just look where we're at. I mean, if this is not the level, then it has to be this level right there, which is not too far off. So if we can clone that, put it right there. So it's got to be within those 3 lines. And I don't even think we need the bottom line, not yet. So it's got to be within these 2 lines. And you can see there's the 1-to-1 extension right there. So you want to do something really, 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 really cool that I've been wanting to do for a while? Ready? This is going to be exciting. I have never done this before, but I feel like this is a good shot that we have the low. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a trend-based fib extension, and we're going to see based on how, where we came from. So I'm going to go from the low, and then I'm going to go all the way to the top, not the very, very top, but this top here. And I can move it both. I can move it back, and then I'm going to pull it all the way down to there. And then I'm going to take this off of log scale, and then we're going to look at it. And here we go. So this is our new Fibonacci level. And look where the 4.236 is. It's literally where it should be, right around that $10 to $14 level. So that's a good target. That's a really good target. Now, if we were to fall lower, look what happens when we fall lower. The target comes down. So not that much down, actually. Not too bad. But if you just look at a 1618, that puts us right at almost $6. If you look at a 2618, that puts us right at about almost $9, right? So then if we take one more and let's put it just right there. And then what we're going to do now is take a zone. And this is our must break level, right? And now we can get rid of that. So there we go. Those are the new levels there. So based off the extension of this wave, based off the extension of the pullback, gives us a rough estimate of where the next wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 should land, somewhere in that level. And that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So very exciting. Can't wait to see that play out. At some point in my long life that I've been looking at this chart that hasn't completely, totally played out to what I've wanted, right? Because I've been an investor. You know, I've invested back into Bitcoin, back into here, but I really didn't start investing into XRP until you know, 2018, 2019, basically in here. And then a lot in here. And that's about it. And so I'm not going to jump off the train right here. Like, no, that's just too close. I need it to be higher. Now, taking profits, okay, but getting off the train, this train's not going to stop. Not the way it's shaping right now, right? The shape of it looks too good to me. Look at the perfect points right in here. Look at that. If you just line them all up, look at that. It's like perfect. And then if you have one more right in here, and if you look at that, it totally looks like a wedge to me, right? So if we could kind of chill out in here, maybe pump, and then eventually break out, get back up to here. So XRP looking pretty good. Small time frames. That's a pretty big pump. You know, I haven't seen a pump like that in a while. I haven't seen a pump like that in a long time. Well, maybe this one here. But it was sort of a secondary pump. It was a 1, 2, 3. This is just a 1. So it's promising. So that's about it for XRP. I mean, let's look at Theta here. I mean, I put out a video yesterday if you want to go check that out. Basically, I said this is the most oversold in the history of crypto yesterday. And because of that, now, if you look at a lot of these assets, they're up 10, 15, 20% or more today. So that's when you look, when there's blood in the streets and there's mass pandemonium and everything's down 15, 20%, you got to buy. There's no choice, even if it doesn't feel good. Look, I tell people all the time, it's not supposed to feel good. When you buy crypto, it's supposed to feel bad. It's supposed to feel like you're a naughty boy, like you're not supposed to do that, right? And then it's supposed to feel bad. And then when you buy, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And then you wake up the next morning and you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I did that. And a lot of times it doesn't take till the next morning. It takes weeks and months to have that belief that it will come back, right? So when the market capitulates, people look at it as a bad thing, but I look at it as a good thing, because every single time the market capitulates, every single time, it's the low, it's the bottom, it's the local low, it's the ultimate low, right? Just if we look at the weekly chart and we zoom all the way out, right? And you look at capitulation. Where's capitulation at? That's capitulation, that's capitulation, that's capitulation, that's a little bit of capitulation in there, not a lot. And that's it. And then this was capitulation right in there. And then finally we had capitulation right in here. And if you notice, every single time, right, that was the low, that was the low, that was the low. This was a local low. So, you know, if we look at this right here, you know, we come all the way down. So like, for example, let's say we come all the way down and then we went all the way back up and we took the top. We came all the way back and we took the top. What do you think would happen then? I would not be liking that, because then I would imagine we would have a major move to the downside, which would totally suck, right? So it would be probably better. You know, it's really tough because we don't know if it's this, and then that there, right? That's what it probably is. Yeah, so that would mean that's distribution. If that's your base, right? You hit the low, and then there's your bear market, right? But then you come up and you sweep the top, and then you come down. So, let's zoom out here. Wait, what chart was that? ADA, Theta up 11%, 12%. I bought Theta yesterday. If Theta ever goes back to its all-time highs, you're probably going to be a millionaire. Because if I buy $10,000 at 20 cents, and then that goes to $16, you're going to have over $1 million, I think. I think my math is right. I don't know. I have to calculate that. But you know what, guys? I'm sorry. I need to go back to math school because I'm totally off. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that far off. Look, buying $10,000 worth of a crypto coin at 20% provides you with 50,000 coins. And if that 50,000 coin ever was valued at $15, bro, that's a profit of $750,000. That's just your profit. So interesting. So think about that. If I had $10,000 right now, I wish I did, and I put it into Theta, and I held it for year after year after year after year until it reached its all-time high. And if you don't think it ever will reach its all-time high, then you shouldn't be investing into Theta at all. You should just, come on. If you don't think it's ever going back above its all-time high, then you shouldn't invest in any crypto. The only reason I would buy any crypto is that I believe that it will go above its all-time high. The whole point of buying crypto is for it to go above its all-time highs, right? So, but just getting to the all-time, if you buy it here and then we travel, we get all the way up there. That's a long ways. That 20 cents to $15, that's a major move. And if you look at the percentages, we've done it before. We started from here and we went all the way up, and that was an 8,000% move. So that's why I'm not really interested in the XRP. I really love XRP. I think it's going to do well, but not 8,000%. I mean, come on. There's no way XRP is going to give us 8,000%. Not even close. So if I bought $10,000 worth of XRP right this second, and I went up, I mean, I'm already at $15 and I'm not even at 900%. So I would have to go, I'm all the way at $50 and I'm only at 3,000%. Remember, Theta was 8,000%. 8,000. So if I went all the way up to 8,000%, which is definitely not likely, that would mean XRP would have to be over $100 dude, that's going to take a long time. That's going to take years, if not a decade, for it to get over $100. You know, and I know people think, oh, $10,000 XRP. Dude, if XRP, if they can flip a switch and we can go to 10,000, I would be the happiest guy on the planet. Even though money doesn't make you happy, but freedom does make you happy. So I would be happy that I would be free. But yeah, it's just not likely. So unless the only way it is likely is if Trump and the Fed and Ripple and the central banks can agree and do something with Ripple. Because look, if we don't do it, China will do it. And that's why I'm so bullish on Ripple, is because Ripple is an American fintech company. It's an American financial technology company, and it's one of the best on the planet by far, Ripple. So you think Trump is not going to use Ripple as an American corporate machine to influence and shape the new financial system away from what China wants? I mean, you bet your last dollar it will. So now you could say, well, why don't you sell all your XRP and go into Theta if you think that way? Well, that's the thing. It's not that easy, right? It's not going to be easy for Theta, and it's not going to be easy for XRP, right? Because even if this did come back, you still have all of this weight right in here. So if you come back, you got a lot of weight right here. You come back, you got a lot of weight right in there. And then if you manage to get through that, that's the biggest level right here. Like, this is the ultimate level that I want to see Theta break above, which is $1.40, $1.43 right in there. So let's just put a zone. We'll put one right there. And then we will put one right there. So that is the zone we totally need to break above. We have to break above that zone. And I believe we will, right? So, I mean, look how gorgeous. Well, first of all, are we there? Let's see. If we take a line and we go all the way to the downside, and we take this line and we go right there, and we put that right there, and then we take this and we put it right there, you could see we're so close. We're so close. But honestly, the move really ended there. So if I take it from the top and I come all the way down, I could go down further or even down even further. But I would say, let's see what this line represents right there. Look at that. Definitely within that level. Look at that. Perfect. And then I'll do one more line from here, and then we're going to go right there, because that's where the low is, right there from this wave. And then this was just all the consolidation. So if I put it right there, and then I take this line, put it right there, and then I swing out. Well, would you look at that? All three lines are in the vicinity of the one-to-one extension. So if you take this as a 1, right, or an A and then a B, well, then your C, this extension is the same as this extension. So it's the same. And that's where we should expect it to play. And then if you just simply stretch these out, it makes a lot of sense, because we're basically retesting our support box that we need to test. So this is basically the grand finale of the low of the low of the bear market. And obviously we could probably test 15 cents again, or maybe even 12 cents. But I would imagine somewhere within these lines, 1, 2, 3, we should be holding the line and staying relatively healthy in here. So, Yeah, look at that. You got 5 waves right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. And look at the bullish look at the major bullish divergence there. Look at that. Bam and bam. Thank you, ma'am. Look at that. So we popped the high. Look at that. We didn't get away from the scene of the crime. We went completely up. So we're probably going to drizzle back down over Saturday, Sunday. I would hope. I would want to. I wouldn't want this thing to just keep going up because then it's going to crash. We don't want it to crash. We want it to stabilize. We need it to stabilize. And we want what really is consolidation. We need it to consolidate in here and build up a volume profile so that we can hold these critical levels, right? I'm curious what the market cap of Theta is relative to what the price is. Not sure, but I want to see it finally break one of these lines in here. Obviously the top one we want, you know, because this is your demand line down in here, and this is your supply line right here. So we want to break above that supply line and relieve the pressure, right? So what about, we'll look at XLM and maybe some Theta Fuel. Ooh, look at XLM. Looking really interesting here. I mean, almost perfect. You got a super oversold RSI with hidden bullish divergence right there, right there, right there. You could see that, totally see that. And that's number one. Number two, you just completely... And you know what? If I was saying these good things about 1 or 2 coins, then that's not good. But if I was saying it about multiple coins, that's when you know it's a good chance here. Look at that. So we have hidden bull. We extend this all the way out. This is one of the most critical levels in XLM's history by far, right? You got all of these spots, this spot, right? You got all of these levels in here, and that's right where we're at. So those are 2 very valid points. And then if you just look at the weekly RSI, we are the most oversold in the history of XLM. And you could say, well, this line's a little bit lower than this line. Yeah, well, that's because we pumped. Remember, if we didn't pump, this line would be down here somewhere. And it was yesterday. So most oversold RSI, also bullish divergence, and last but not least, well, not even last, you have 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then 5. You have 5 waves. You have 5 waves to the downside. Now, you don't have bullish divergence in those 5 waves, which is okay because it's so dramatic. But that 5 wave move is a part of, you know, 3, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like how this was 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we climbed up and then we flagged out. So if we could climb up and we can flag out, then we can create a base in here like we did over here. And then eventually break out, just like we did before. So Trump became president. We skyrocketed to the upside. And you know what's really interesting about that is that Bitcoin is actually lower than it was than when President Trump took office. But if you look at the American cryptos, they're actually a little bit higher than where Trump took office, which I find interesting. So, yeah, this is the area where you want to go heavy, hard, because you have a 3-wave pullback that took over a year, oversold, back testing, 5 waves. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But if we look at the sequential, there's also a lot of nines that came in here. Look at that. Today, or no, 2 days from now, we're going to get a 9 on the 3-day. Let's see. Do we have any 9s here? I'm sure we do. Or it could be on another chart, 2-day chart. There we go. We're getting a 3-week 9, which is insanity. So look at that. It's almost perfected. So in 9 days, we should have a 9 right in here. So interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Let's see. Did we get an extension here? From there to there to there. Yeah, it's not really... When you go to the downside, it's not that great. Well, we're right around that 1-to-1. The 1-to-1 is at 16 cents. I mean, we're basically right in there, so we'll take that. Does Filecoin still look like a disaster? Yeah, kinda. Looks like a sad, pathetic thing, you know? I mean, look at this. It's at 90, it's at $1, okay? So if you buy Filecoin today at 96 cents, and then let's say we went all the way up to $41, that's 4,000%. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, you got to imagine at some point in our lives it should happen. You would think, right? I mean, come on. It's a utility coin. So, or at least we think it is. I hope it is. I'm not really a techie kind of guru with blockchain, so I just go by what I've researched and what people say about it, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But as long as it's, you know, if it's in the Ripple circle, it's usually pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see anything completely finished. You know, not quite yet. So let's see here. Look at silver. Silver hit a 3-week 9 sell. So I would imagine silver is going to be kind of, oh, and you're on a 6-week 9 sell, which is worse. So I would imagine silver is probably going to be topped for a little while. That's a massive pull. That's a massive dump right there. In hindsight, would I have sold silver? I don't know. The reason why people don't really, it's a pain in the butt. You got to freaking get the silver, and then you have to call one of the companies, and then you have to mail it in and hope to God it gets there. And then, you know, then they look at it, and then I don't know. It's just kind of like I haven't done it yet, so but I would probably sell it back to the place I bought it from. Actually, let's look at this. So this is usually the website I go to. I'm just curious what the silver is. So I just want to go to a silver eagle. High demand, high demand. Oh, well, I thought the price is crashing. Why would we have high demand if the price is crashing? Because it's all bullshit, guys. It's all bullshit. It really, really is. It is all the gold and silver market is completely rigged. Completely. Look at this. $91 for a, oh, right here. $93. $93. $95, $95, $90. I mean, holy crap. Let's go to the silver rounds real quick. These are a little bit cheaper. Silver rounds. And we'll look at all silver rounds. And You have, I don't know why Snoop Dogg's on there. Where's the original ones? Okay. No, I don't want that. I want full 1 ounce. See, this is crazy. I've never seen them sell like quarter ounce, half ounce. Now they're starting to because it's ridiculous. Okay, here we go. It's $87. So you're looking at between, let's just say, 87 and 95. Okay, 87 and 95. But then when you pay for it, right? Like it says right here, credit card, it comes out to $91. And then you add tax to that, right? You add the freaking tax. Let's add to cart. I don't know why it's not working. My whole thing just froze. I don't know. The whole website just kind of like crashed. I think maybe because it's just too many people buying it. All right. So look at the price. It's $76. But wait a minute. We just saw it was $95. So how is that possible? That's because, guys, nobody understands about the premiums. When COVID happened, okay, let's go back to COVID. When COVID happened, silver, remember, I was buying a lot of silver right in here, and I was paying, 14, 15, 16, 17, $20 an ounce. Okay. And then when COVID happened, it dropped all the way down to $11. So I went to go buy, but guess what? I could not buy it for $11. I had to pay like $25 for it. So explain the world where that makes sense, where the price, because the paper market is completely disconnected from the physical market. It's all rigged. It's manipulated. Look, gold and silver is real money, guys. It's real money. It's been money for thousands of years, going back to the Romans, gold and silver. So do you think banks want to hold dollar bills that they printed out of nothing, or do you think they want to hold gold and silver? Right? So it's all rigged. It's all manipulated. And, it's $76. So my premium is 86, 90. There's a $20 premium on it, right? So I could buy silver right now on a silver contract and pay $77. Or I could buy the real physical thing and pay a lot more. But when I go to sell the silver, do I get to sell them on a premium? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they just take it maybe $1 over spot. I'm not sure. So that's why I don't really like gold and silver, because it's a pain in the freaking ass. You got to deal with people, and I don't like that. That's why I like crypto, especially, I know you got to deal with Coinbase, and, Coinbase had a problem yesterday. You couldn't even log in because they were going crazy. Like every time when it really matters, Coinbase takes a shit, right? But yeah, gold and silver, it's a pain to deal with because there's a lot of different variables. You have the coin shop and their pricing, you have the physical pricing, and then you have the spot price. And it's just twisted, So anyways, I digress on that. Let's look at Theta Fuel before we run out of time here. If I go over 1 hour, nobody watches the video. The algorithms get completely killed. That's why you should like this video. It really helps it. Appreciate it. I don't know why people, well, if I see a video and it's got like 1 million views, I don't really need to like it. Like, but, unless I really, really, really love it, I will like it. But, I don't think Mr. Beast needs any more likes, even though his videos are the best in the world. And there's a reason why he has all those likes. But yeah, here's Theta Fuel. Look, it's the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got bearish divergence. We got bullish divergence. We're the most oversold in history. I mean, look at that. We're the most oversold in history. We have 5 waves to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're perfect. We have a perfect impulse. We have a perfect ABC. Now, what are we looking for? We're looking for this to sort of level off, find some support, build a base, and start the retrace. So let's see if that plays out. And we'll look at it a lot deeper in this week's members video, which you're not going to want to miss. So I will catch you guys on the next one. Remember, not financial advice, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.